Snap check. 1, 2, 3. Okay, everything seems to be good. Okay. So it is Tuesday, and we are, as I promised, jumping right back into Diddy's Conquest. Yeah, we've been on this game for quite a while. I am very tired right now, but I'm going to do this just for you guys at home, whether you're watching this live or you're catching it on an archive, or like a highlight or one of my highlight reel or something. I don't know. Hopefully you see this one way or another eventually. But yeah, we're gonna be going ahead and. Hold on, here we go. There. So last time we got the first ending to the game, and I mentioned kind of wanting to go through and find some coins in this file, in the file we've been playing with, and, you know, I'm not really 100%ing it, but just getting a few coins that were hard for me to remember or to dig up. So that way people can kind of get a sense of how intuitive or unintuitive a lot of the collecting element in this game is, and then after we collect a couple coins, maybe like somewhere in the neighborhood of like 3 or 5, we'll reset the game and go to my completed file here and play through all the Lost World levels. So that way we can go ahead and just finish up this game tonight and see the true ending. And then Friday, we can start a new game, a new game or two, depending on how things go, depending on how my schedule looks. But anyway, enough talking, or enough introduction. Let's go ahead and return to our second save here. So we're gonna go back to Gangplank Galleon, and I believe there are a number of coins I didn't get here. So we got everything in Pirate Panic. There's an exclamation point and a DK. So there's nothing left to collect there. Main Brace Mayhem, I believe, has a DK coin. As well as, I think, 2 more that I missed. So we'll go ahead and do that. Also, Main Brace Mayhem is not too difficult. So we already got the one over there, I believe. Yeah. So we don't need to jump over to the barrel at the bottom. What we need is to find. Let's see. Take that. Get up. I'm gonna go ahead and get this. There we go. So, while I'm doing this, let's go ahead and talk about something that came up on my Twitter feed recently, and I commented a little bit about it on the Game Lounge Twitter. Sorry, I just wanted to do that. So I guess there's been a few cases lately where like the main thing I saw was apparently Ubisoft is taking Ubisoft is taking Assassin's Creed Liberation off of the Steam store, and I don't think this is true. I think I also saw some news reports saying that what other people were tweeting about was false, but I'm not sure. But the issue was that supposedly not only were they taking it off the Steam store, it was also going to be the case that Assassin's Creed Liberation would not be playable or accessible at all, even if you already owned it digitally. And I believe there was an article that like a follow-up that IGN posted. I don't really actually read IGN articles. But there was a follow-up article where IGN quoting Ubisoft clarified that people will still have access to Assassin's Creed Liberation even after it's off the Steam store. So apparently that information wasn't true. By the way, I think I already got this. Yeah, I believe I already have that coin, but I can't remember. I'll just have to do it. But yeah, so Ubisoft was saying no, you will still be able to access Assassin's Creed Liberation even after it's delisted from Steam. If you already own it, like you can still download it and install it and play it. But the news that was going around was that apparently you wouldn't be able to do that. So I can't confirm which it actually is, but it started a whole discussion, another one of these discussions that I see on Twitter kind of often about physical versus digital. And so you had people being like, this is what your all digital future is going to bring to gaming, and the usual people, a lot of I'm not going to name any names, but particularly a lot of the Nintendo YouTubers, a lot of the retro gaming crowd, the retro game collecting crowd to be specific, and mainly a lot of personalities in the a lot of personalities in the general video game commentary community and Twitch live streamer circles. So, but the problem that I kind of have with a lot of that discussion is in these particular cases, people want to turn it into a physical media versus digital media kind of deal, and they want to sort of argue that that physical media is essential to preservation, and that you don't actually own what you buy digitally. All the usual arguments pop back up in these kinds of situations, and people who know me know that I am somewhat of a we got everything good. People who know me and have watched me, or kind of kept up with me for some time, a lot of people know that I am something of a proud preacher of the digital content gospel, so to speak. I believe that there will always be a place for physical media. I don't think there will ever be such a thing as an all digital future. There's always going to be a place for physical media, whether as collector's editions or as just a complement to an otherwise predominantly digital market, which the marketplace has been primarily a digital marketplace for almost a decade now. That doesn't stop, of course. There being very large physical print runs of major games, particularly AAA games. Nor does it stop there being limited collector's editions with a physical disc or cartridge included for a lot of more niche titles. So the thing that I was sort of the thing that I was trying to get at, or that I'm trying to get at here, is there is always, whenever these things happen, and they don't really happen that often, the physical media crowd will always, leap at the opportunity to sort of try to use these kinds of situations, like a game being delisted, or a game not, or a studio going under, and a game not being accessible anymore because nobody knows who owns the rights to it. The physical media crowd often leaps on those incidences in an attempt to validate their own position, and to kind of justify, because a lot of these guys are people who collect. They don't just buy physical media; they collect it. So there's definitely a desire to justify the collecting aspect, to sort of frame a passion for collecting as not just something arbitrary, but as something that, you're not really a collector who's just buying stuff just for the sake of it. You're like an archivist who's preserving video game history, stuff like that. But my opinion, when these situations happen, my own opinion is that most of these situations are not really an issue of physical media versus digital media. What it really is, I think, and this is where, and I think some people intuitively know this, but maybe not consciously know this. This is where the whole, people are sort of half joking now, saying piracy is always moral, that sort of thing, because it really is more of a copyright issue. It's an issue of copyright law and digital rights management. It's not really, in my opinion, an actual issue of... I don't think it's really an issue of physical versus digital. because for one thing, there was way back in the 80s and 90s when there was no digital media, when it was all physical media, right? When it was all physical media, the reach of your game, and therefore the likelihood of its long-term preservation. People, of course, didn't really think too much about video game preservation back then, because people kind of thought of video games as just sort of glorified electronic toys. They weren't really something you preserved. But the thing is, back in the 80s and the 90s, games didn't really have as big of physical print runs as they do now. So it's weird to hear people talk about the death of physical media when how many games from in the 1980s and the 1990s, even for the most popular platforms, even for the most popular home computer systems or home consoles, could boast that they sold 8 million copies within like a month, out of a print run that was probably like 10 to 15 million. There really aren't that many print runs. Really, for physical games now, are much larger than they have ever been in the history of the industry. So I don't really buy that whole physical media is dying thing. What really is happening is that a lot of developers, particularly smaller developers, most especially smaller developers, are switching over to primarily digital because it's an easier and cheaper way to get their product out. While the big companies are still printing physical copies of games and distributing physical copies of games in larger numbers than ever before, and that it sort of complements the otherwise very digitized marketplace, and also a lot of games from the old days when physical media was the only method of distribution. Like people want to talk about, people really want to talk about, they really want to talk about the small number of cases, which is usually tends to be something. These are rare cases that often involve the larger companies that are purposely trying to artificially create scarcity, in some fashion. The small number of incidences where like a game is no longer accessible digitally, I feel that those situations are outweighed by the sheer number of games from the old era of the Atari and the Intellivision and the Atari ST, particularly like home computer systems like a lot of the DOS games and a lot of the old home computer games for early versions of Windows and Apple computers and stuff, and also, you know, even for games for major home consoles, well up until the 16-bit and 32-bit eras. There were plenty of games that didn't have large physical print runs, and because the developers couldn't afford it, or their publishers didn't have confidence in the product, so they weren't willing to put up the money for larger mass production, and many of those games became collector's items because for a time, it was, especially before emulation became a thing, it was very hard to find some games. It really, when physical media dominated the marketplace, there were a lot of developers and a lot of games that went pretty underappreciated because they just couldn't have the reach. They couldn't have the reach to compete with bigger developers or bigger publishers. And in a lot of cases, the main way that many of those games were preserved for video game enthusiasts, video game historians, and just generally, general players, it's primarily thanks to piracy, or at least not so much, if not piracy, then at least unofficial means of digital distribution. So I feel like digital media in general, and people might say, well, okay, like, yeah, but piracy and emulation is not the same thing as digital distribution. When you're talking about the broader medium of digital distribution, you can't remove, I don't think you can remove emulation and piracy from that. It's a part of it. You're kind of splitting hair. At that point, you're kind of splitting hairs. But it does, if you want to split hairs about that, really, I think you have to admit that the problem is mainly an issue of digital rights management. It's mainly an issue of copyright law. Copyright, because I think that copyright law was never... a lot of copyright law with respect to video games, in particular, is very out of date. I think it's still kind of taking a lot of cues from the music industry, and how the music industry manages copyright law in response to rampant piracy. And a lot of those laws are out of date because they're still living in like the Napster era. They're still living. They're still having nightmares about old Napster. And so, I feel like the problem with the physical media versus digital media discussion is that nobody really seems to want to talk about copyright law and the effect it has on video game preservation. And I kind of agree with, I believe Linus Tech Tips said something to the effect recently on his WAN Show podcast that he said something to the effect of, here we are, there it is. He said something to the effect that if you discontinue service for a game or you take it off like a digital marketplace officially, he said something to the effect that there should be a law that you have to make you have to release the source code to the public. And I pretty much agree with that. I think that video games in general, including their source codes, should be entering, in general, software in general, not just video games. But since we're talking about video games here, video games should be entering the public domain. Individual video games, not necessarily the characters, not necessarily the intellectual properties, but at least the games themselves should be entering the public domain a lot sooner, or it should be a lot harder to sort of keep it out of the public domain. Because the way I see it is, I think of it like, how much better would the industry be if Nintendo legally could not prevent people from downloading a ROM file of the original Super Mario Brothers or something like that. They would still have the rights to the character. They would still have the right to the merch. They would still have, copyright over like merchandise and stuff. They would still have. You could still have laws that prevent people from it would be in the public domain, but it would be not something you could, I guess, not something you could profit. You could distribute for profit. It would make things so much. It would make things so much smoother. I believe. But nobody seems to want to talk about that, and I don't really know why. I'm not really sure what what the reasoning is. I think it might be just because some people are maybe it might be that a lot of people in the physical media group, the physical media fans or enthusiasts or collectors. It might be that for some reason they feel like the current copyright laws around video games and software are okay. There's nothing really wrong with them. And maybe they feel that way because they somehow connect. They almost. I think in some ways people who are fixated on collecting physical media for video games maybe sometimes can sympathize a lot of the times with the corporations, the actual, like, you know, the actual rights holders. So there's sort of this sense that somehow maybe there's this kind of sense that somehow their hobby of collecting also can make that. Which one did I miss in this level? I'm gonna try to get like one new coin in each state. Well, no, I'll get one more coin here, and I'll get one more coin in the next one. I'm just trying to I'm kind of distracted because I'm trying to finish this long thought or tangent to mine. Also, I'm like all jazzed up on stimulants to try to keep myself awake, so I have to also talk to try to keep myself awake. So pardon me if I'm like just running off right now. You know, if I'm just off the rails. But as I was saying, I think that maybe collectors, there is, I think, a trend where physical media collectors, when it comes to video games, tend to feel a certain affinity with the companies that own the rights to the properties, rather than necessarily their fellow video game players, who may not be collectors, and may have less qualms about just freely pirating everything every retro game that they want to play. I don't know. I think that might be something to look into, just like to see how often maybe the people who will apologize for a company, particularly a veteran video game company like Sega or Nintendo. Sega, of course, is far less egregious than Nintendo, but I wonder if I think there is definitely a correlation between somebody who has a physical copy of every Sonic game or every Mario game, has all the amiibos and has a bunch of collectible swag. I think there's a correlation between people who will defend or apologize for some of these companies and those kinds of collectors. And maybe that's kind of a lot of my issue with the culture around retro game collectors and just people who collect large amounts, not people who buy merchandise, but people who collect large amounts of video game merchandise in general. I think that sometimes it leads to a situation where, because a lot of your identity is wrapped up in collecting such merchandise or collecting such physical media, maybe at times when companies do a bad thing, unless it's something that you literally cannot defend, it's a lot easier to look the other way, because somehow maybe criticizing them, or maybe not defending their interests, maybe somehow you feel people like that can feel like wonder if I got that one. But maybe people like that can sometimes feel like criticizing a video game company in that context, in that situation, in certain situations, is a kind of self-reproach. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting it a little too philosophical or about it. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about it. But I guess my point is that we need to change the discussion away. We need to move the discussion away from physical media versus digital media with regards to video game preservation, and start talking more about perhaps reforming a lot of the copyright laws around video games and software software in general that we kind of take for granted, but which maybe are just either out of date or just don't really. We're never really very. We're only half solutions to begin with, and so now are just creating more problems than they solve. But that's how I feel about that. Right now, I am trying to find a coin that I missed, but I don't remember. I don't remember which ones I got, and I don't remember. I've gotten all the coins before, but I don't remember where a lot of them are, and I could always just look up the DKC Atlas, but I don't think that's really all that fun. In general, I don't think collecting the coins in Donkey Kong Country 2 is very fun. I know I've repeated that over and over and over again, and with various different ways throughout this playthrough. Sorry, that's redundant. Various different ways. But I'm sorry if I repeated myself constantly with regard to that point. It's just, I don't hate this game. I do not hate this game. I very much thoroughly enjoy this game for the most part. Some levels aside, I think, it has some of the best level design in the whole series. It's a huge improvement over the first one in terms of difficulty and just in general, a lot of the it's meatier. It's meatier than DKC 2, even if it's meatier than DKC 1, even if maybe it's a little long in the tooth. And that's probably the best way to describe Donkey Kong Country 2 is that phrase long in the tooth. I think I've heard people use that phrase to describe it, and I think it's an appropriate description of this game. This is a game that is better played in spurts, in shorter sessions over time, and probably is better played with some kind of player's guide. I think I'm gonna get out of here. I don't know where anything is. So let's go ahead and go to Funky. I think I'll just get one more coin, and then we'll go ahead and go to the Lost World. Because otherwise, I'm just going to be losing my focus and going around in circles as I ramble on about stuff that thousands of people on the internet have probably already talked about in much more articulate words than I am able to than I am able to conjure up out of the on the fly. But let's see. Did I get them over here? What about over here? I didn't get them over here. No, I did. Okay. So exclamation point, exclamation point. I think this might have been the one place where I had a really easy time finding stuff. Oh, no. I know where One is, let me go to the Monkey Museum. Let's go talk to Cranky. Get him to tell us where, get him to tell us where maybe a coin is. Parachute Panic. To the left of the letter O is where you should go. All right. Thank you, Cranky. Sometimes he's a little cryptic in his clues. Other times he pretty much just outright tells you where it is. Again, for an in-game price. For a meager microtransaction. All right, go down here. All right, so here's the K. To the left of the O is where you should go. Now, I believe you can just once I get it, I can just press start select and I still have it. Ah. All right, where is the O? Huh. I think it's in a wall. Did I get this one? I think I got this one. But I'm not sure how many are actually in Parachute Panic. I'm gonna try it one more time, and then if not, I'm gonna go to Kremland and get one that I know for sure where it is. Go down. Giving everyone a break from my long-windedness, my sleep and my sleep deprivation for just a moment while I try to manage this parrot. No, that's right. It's up there. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I got this one because I wasn't sure how exactly I was supposed to do it. Right. I think you're supposed to just fly him right to where that sign is before he gets too tired. All right, just hold the Y button. Oh. Ah. Oh no, I know where, I think I remember where it is. Let's try that again. But you see, this was one of the reasons why I did want to do a little bit of collecting, because I wanted to I don't do speed runs. I don't really do completionist runs even. I just try to give a broad overview of each game. I'm sorry, I know I've said that before, but this is just in case this is the first stream somebody is watching of this playthrough. But I don't do completionist runs. I don't do speed runs really. I do those in my own time if I feel like it. But I try to just do everything at a pretty moderate pace that gives people a general sense of what a moderately skilled player has to do in the game, and just gives a generally broad overview of what the game offers as far as a sense of challenge. Yep, there it is. All right. As far as the sense of challenge, or just kind of the wider breadth of content the game offers. I personally, I believe I had a I shouldn't say I believe that I remember, because I remember the discussion very clearly. I did have a discussion with somebody, or really more of an argument, with regard to Let's Plays and what kind of Let's Plays I prefer. I personally prefer an informative playthrough that generally has a... I prefer there we go. I prefer a largely informative playthrough with some, okay, are you gonna get off of me? Get off of me. Get off of me. Come on. Come on, bird. Or do I have to go with that? You gonna let go? Oh, there we go. Okay. I was pressing the wrong button. But the kinds of Let's Plays that I like, and I guess streams would count too. I like a good balance of information, and humor. I feel like there's a lot of Let's Play channels, even ones that I otherwise enjoy, from time to time. I feel like a lot of Let's Players devolve more into just where the game doesn't really have... It's more of like a podcast sort of thing. And I think that's okay. I don't think that that's bad. But sometimes, I guess for me, it's just I like video games, and I like seeing people play video games fairly well, and I like hearing people who know a lot about the particular games that they're playing, and that they have a passion for. But I also do, think you need some humor in there. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm a very funny guy, so I don't feel like my streams or my Let's Plays have much in the way of humor, at least not on my part. And that's probably why I can be a little talkative, because maybe in my own mind I'm trying to, especially if I'm alone, I'm trying to kind of compensate for the fact that I'm not a very funny person. I wish I was funny, but I'm really not. I don't. My sense of humor is I feel like sometimes it's either too edgy, too quote unquote edgy, because for some people, or may come across like, oh, this guy just wants to like be like he just wants to sound like the the coolest 4chaner on the block or something. I think it can come across like that at times, and also other times it can come across as kind of prudish, because there are certain things that I don't feel comfortable joking about, due to maybe a kind of moral concern that I have that is not really a moral concern for others. So the way I often see my content on this channel is I generally see my content, or the content that I try to make, as fitting neatly in a kind of PG-13 demographic, where my ideal sort of content that I want to make is content where if you're there we go. Higher the plane. The ideal kind of content that I want to make and that I try to make on and publish on this channel, as well as my my main channel, Sayonara Productions, is something that if you are a parent and if you're a parent and you're watching my content and your 12-year-old or your 10 to 13-year-old is in the room, you wouldn't feel like, oh, okay, this person is talking about things or joking about things that are that are inappropriate for my middle schooler. But I also don't want to be, I don't really want to be like somebody who's like super squeaky clean. Track so much the Kremlin car carefully, he might be down, but he's on his way out. Okay. I remember what he was saying. I just thought I'd come over here and buy that clue for the sake of anyone in the audience. But yeah, I think that I feel like that's the healthy medium, because I don't feel like there's actually a lot of stuff that meets that medium. It feels like there's a lot of kids content that is a bit, maybe it doesn't intend to be, but it can come across as very exploitative. That is, maybe it doesn't intend to be on the part of the people involved. There is, of course, a lot of exploitative children's content on this particular platform. There's no doubt about that. Made by very scummy people. But there's also a lot of like kids content that's very like super ultra tame. And while I would like to appeal to younger people, I don't want to be that kind of entertainer or educator. Now, oh, I already got this one. But also, there's also a lot of stuff that kids watch on YouTube that the YouTubers, that the content creators and YouTube know a lot of children watch, that probably isn't appropriate for children to watch. That's where you get a lot of like kids who are in middle school watching somebody, usually like, especially a lot of these dude bro prank channels, fake prank channels and stuff. A lot of the people who watch those channels are children. But the content itself is not really kid friendly, and so you have a lot of 11-year-olds. You have a lot of 11 and 12-year-olds watching a kind of like a prank channel where every quote unquote prank, every staged prank is like, gone, is, gone wrong, girl copped a feel, you know, copping a feel prank gone wrong, that kind of thing. And I don't think young people in that particular age demographic should be watching content like that. But the content creators know that's their audience. They know those are the people who are their bread and butter, and YouTube knows it. And nobody really, and the people who make fun of those channels know it, but nobody really does anything about it, because I don't think anyone really, nobody really cares as much as they might pretend to. I think it's just more of a point of mockery. It's not so much like a point of moral outrage. And other people don't want to be the killjoy. And it's just, you don't really know. Most people just feel it's better just, yeah, it is what it is. I'll just ignore it. And I understand that. But my point is that there isn't really a lot of content on this platform for younger people that how can I put it? That is equally appealing to adults, for much of the same reasons, and which also doesn't feel super like processed, like or formulaic, or I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for is, but I think you know what I think. If you're listening to this, you probably know what I mean. There's content that's for kids, which older people can enjoy. There's content for kids that maybe older people can still enjoy it, but it's not exactly, it's not exactly what am I doing? It's not exactly it's like, it's like the sort of My Little Pony sort of situation. That's a show that was, at least at first, it was made for children, and adults could enjoy it. But everything was kind of it was primarily geared towards very, very young children. There's not I guess what I'm getting at is that there's not a lot of content on YouTube that has a good healthy middle ground where it appeals to adults and it appeals to younger people, particularly in younger, like in the middle school and early high school demographic, that isn't super phony and corporate, okay, I missed it. I know. Hold on. I'm out of here. Press pause there. I missed it. It's the second one. And it starts me at the checkpoint here, so it's the second guy on the minecart that I have to follow. But I always wanted my content to have a healthy middle ground where I could appeal simultaneously to adults and to younger people. What is wrong with me? I guess I'm just getting distracted. But to finish my thought, there isn't a lot of the content on YouTube that appeals to kids is in my opinion not stuff kids should be watching, or because it kind of teaches them bad behavior, I feel. And they see older people that they look up to behaving in these ways that they think are cool, and they think, well, that's how you're supposed to act. You gotta flex on people. You gotta, if you gotta, you know what I'm talking about. I know anyone listening to this knows what I'm talking about. But you have you have a lot of content that's too squeaky clean that it starts to feel phony and overly corporate, and you have content that isn't squeaky clean but is still raking in money from young people watching it because they think this is you know these people I'm watching are older, the example of the older cool kid that they think they're supposed to be like, and my whole thing. And then there's other content that appeals to adults, but doesn't really have any appeal to children or to young. I don't want to use the word children because that makes it sound like I'm talking about like 5-year-olds. I'm talking like I said, middle school age. But a lot of times the adults don't need somebody like, don't need that. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go here, and I'm gonna save so we can go ahead and do the Lost World. But as I was saying, a lot of adults don't really need somebody like a content creator like me. They already have dozens of content creators that appeal to their more mature interests, and they also, in a lot of ways, they can do a lot of the work and the studying and the learning themselves. They don't necessarily need somebody like me to, you don't need me to talk to you about, if you're my age, if you're 30 or 31 or 32, if you're in that 29 to 31 age demographic, and you grew up with Donkey Kong Country 2, you don't need me to inform you about Donkey Kong Country 2. The viewer who is like 17 or 16 probably needs somebody, if they're interested in this kind of stuff, they're more in need of someone who can, break it down for me, condense, summarize it for me, and give me be my sort of Cliff Notes style professor of gaming. And so I guess that's kind of what I'm going for here here at the Game Lounge. It's my sort of attempt to carve out a healthy middle ground between where I can be a generally informative content creator when it comes to video games, who provides information and tips and what have you, for younger people, in particular, who may not really, who may need somebody who, oh wait, there's no Klobber's kiosk here, who may need someone who can sort of give them a crash course in this kind of gaming, video game content, without really talking down too much to them, and also without really setting a bad moral example. And as far as what appeal I think I could have, or I would like to have with people around my age, I would just hope that people around my age demographic, even if they already know everything that I'm talking about and they don't need me to repeat it to repeat it to them, I hope that I can at least be mildly funny, without being crude, and also prove myself to be as sincere and genuine as I can be when it comes to my interest in this kind of stuff, and also I guess also that I hope that people see that maybe my tastes are not always conventional, and that's, you know, it's not just me trying to be some kind of hipster. I know I don't really have a whole too much content on this channel that really, in general, I still feel like for this whole Game Lounge thing, I still feel like everything's kind of in a state of flux. I'm still sort of experimenting with stuff and trying to find what my niche is, and also try to find a lot of the style that I think really helps set my own platform apart from others in the same genre, but also still has it's not so like esoteric that, you know, I just sound like the kind of content I make is just too strange or too like out there, or too feels like it's too out in outer space for it to be relevant to anybody who isn't like my exact duplicate as far as what my interests and my values are. I know that's I hope I'm making sense. Again, keep in mind I have gone almost like 48 hours now. I think I've been up for like 30 hours, and the only thing that's keeping me up is playing this chimp game and jacking my system up with B vitamins and caffeine. So pardon me if I just sound like a schizo or something. Whoa. Or if I'm just veering way off topic. Thankfully, the magic of editing might fix that if that's a problem. Of course, I don't think anyone's actually watching me right now, and that's also something I hope I could fix one day. I hope people will actually watch me live. I know a lot of my friends are just busy, and I know that I feel like I should ask people like directly and say, hey, I want to stream at this time, but I need somebody to come hang out with me, or I want somebody to come hang out with me. Can you come do that? And I'm always averse to doing that just because I don't want to feel like a beggar. I'm very big on the whole idea of being being genuine and sincere, but also feeling like your own success came from your own like personality or your own charisma and your own effort. And so I think the idea of asking Nom or Bonnie or anyone else in the Discord server, in the PsychWard Discord server to stop on by or to take time out of their schedule to come hang out with me, so I actually feel like I have an audience. I don't know. I just feel I could just feel uncomfortable with that. And I know if I asked a lot of people, they'd be like, if I stressed that it was important to me, that they would do it. It's just, again, it's that feeling like, oh, if you have to beg your friends to watch you, then you're probably just not interesting. And so, I don't know. It doesn't mean I don't feel as bad as maybe I was feeling last year about that sort of thing. But it is kind of, there is a bit of an almost catch-22 kind of thing where, okay, there is a bit of a catch-22 sort of deal, where, if I ask people to come on by, then I feel like I'm begging, and I feel like then the interest doesn't come from comes from charity, not charity or a kind of pity, rather than genuine interest in what I'm doing, or a genuine interest in what I want to do here, on the with the whole PsychWard platform. Oh crap, I hope I'm not moving too far away from the mic. Let me move it a little closer. There we go. Hopefully that's a little better. Sorry, I'm kind of leaning to the left and putting my elbow on the chair, so I wasn't thinking that maybe it sounded like I was a bit further from the mic. But yeah, I mean, I know people would show up if I asked them, but then it feels like, oh well, then that, if they do show up, then your views and your likes, they don't come from people who actually like what you do. It comes from people who just pity you, and they're throwing you the scraps of their attention. But then on the other hand, if I don't ask people, if I don't stress the point that, hey, this means a lot to me. If people, if my friends come keep me company, while I'm trying to sort of do this, do this whole content creation stuff, if I don't do that and nobody kind of comes by on a whim, then I also kind of feel like, oh well, I'm just not interesting. I just don't, I don't. Damn it. I don't have any sort of what you call it, any sort of actual appeal. And then that's when a lot of let's do gorilla. No, I don't have enough coins for that. Lucky lava. What colors were the crocodile heads you jumped on in the first lava level? Blue and green, green and brown. There we go. What is an extra lives balloon colored red worth? 1 life. Let's just let's just take Donkey Kong's model and give him nappy hair. Excluding the end of an area boss, how many levels are in 5? There you go. Leave the studio. But as I was saying, when that sort of happens, when I don't, ask people more like approach my friends and ask them more earnestly, and they don't show up on a whim, then that's when a lot of the a lot of the more bad thoughts and obsessions start kind of coming in. Then it starts to feel like, oh, everybody's messing with me, and everybody's kind of, there's some kind of conspiracy against me of some sort, where it's like, we're gonna give him a small taste of what it feels like to feel like he has a group of friends, but then we're always gonna kind of deny him just because it's funny. And I know that's not true. I know I know that that's just like, that's just paranoia and usually sleep deprivation. But it's a real feeling that, I can get sometimes. And then in those moments, then I wonder, I start to wonder if any of this, I've been at this like for a couple years now, well, more than a couple years, but I mean, I've been getting more serious about it the last couple years. But hold on. Damn it. Turn to Crocodile Cauldron. Gonna go see Funky and then just go get some lives. We're just gonna stock up on like 20 lives at the whatchamacallit, the first level. But I've been at this for I'd say I started my channel in 2017. But the whole PsychWard project at proper is that I've only been trying to get like the whole sort of big, the big, you know, picture. I've only been getting more serious about that and in the last 2.5 years. Before it was just me, you know, kind of just doing whatever and just throwing whatever at the wall and seeing what stuck, without any real clear direction. And so, as I was saying, when that kind of happens, right, you do start to wonder, you know, maybe I'm just wasting my time. Maybe it would just be easier if I, you know, just focused on, like, a real career or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I want to, you know, I want to stick with this because it's what I enjoy doing. First of all, it is what I enjoy doing. And I guess there is sometimes a sense of wanting to prove something to myself and to other people. I'm not going to go too much into my life story or anything. But I think I've always been somebody who had fairly high-minded ideals, or if not ideals in like the sort of liberal romantic sort of sense, kind of very lofty ambitions for myself and what I thought I was meant to do. I feel like at some point a lot of people were very encouraging of that, because they did agree, like, oh yeah, there is something, yeah, Psych, there is something kind of special about you, and so we're eagerly awaiting, you know, the moment you prove to the world, you know, like all these big things that we you know, that we see in you, and then at some point through my my soul searches and my creative experiments and everything, a lot of that faith I feel like kind of started to wane. I feel like people didn't really see me as like a huge loser or anything, but it was just like, you know, just that's you know, that there was that sense that a kind of sense that what everybody really wanted to say beneath a lot of the politeness was, oh, we thought, you know, Psych, we thought that you were special and you were going to do something special, but really, I guess we were wrong. Maybe you should you know, think more seriously about your like, think more realistically about your future and all that. And a part of me, I understand that. And I also understand that, you know, sometimes you have to. I've been through it many times. I'm going through a whole thing right now with something that I don't really want to. It's a little too personal, but particularly something related to my emotional and or my spiritual and philosophical outlook on life in the world, where I am probably, you know, sort of having to come to terms with the idea that a sort of cherished idea or belief system of mine that I've been committed to for a large portion of my life, much like the previous thing that I committed a large portion of my life to, might have been wrong-headed, or I might have not been as what's the word? Might not have been as I may not have had as many of the answers as many of the right answers as I thought I did, and I may not have known as much as I thought I did. And so I'm dealing with something like that right now, and I've dealt with that several times before in my life. But when it comes to what I'm doing here at with the whole PsychWard and the Psychonauta Productions channel and the PsychWard Game Lounge and the PsychWard Discord server and blah 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 blah, there is a sense of a very big sense, a very big desire of mine to say no. I can still make this work. I just need a little more time, or I need to just put in a little more effort, or you know, I need to I need to do more to prove myself, quote unquote, so that the faith or the optimism that people might have placed in me that might be sort of waning to some degree, it doesn't feel like it was misplaced. And there's a lot of stuff I'm working on right now that is restoring my own sense of personal self-confidence. It's sort of restoring that sense of, yeah, you know, I can do this. I can't, you know, it took me a little while to learn this, you know, X or Y skill, or it took me a little while to figure out how this or that worked. But, you know, it's like there's certain things I've been doing lately where it's made me feel like, yeah, you know, I do have, if I don't have like the innate talent, then I at least have the drive to cultivate that talent to realize a lot of my ambitions. But there is still kind of that anxiety that comes around where it's sort of a situation where it's that situation where well, what if? And you know, and obviously that gets into a whole other discussions about what exactly what control do you have over like your life, or over where you're able to you know, how far or where you're able to progress, or even if, like, you know, you have a future at all, because for all you know, there might be some kind of thing that might happen to you next week where you know, you'll get hit by a car, or come down with some disease or something like that, where that'll you know, bring all your ambitions crumbling, you know, crumbling down like some sort of private, you know, some sort of private Tower of Babel. And is that something do you need to worry about, or is that just, you know, is that just more obsessing over things, you know, obsessing over things that not only that you can't control, but it might be unlikely, you know. Like a good example is I don't really like being out in traffic, and part of the reason I don't like being out in traffic is because I don't always feel. I feel like it's playing with a lot of probabilities that are sort of outside your control, and so for me it's like, okay, yeah, you know, we need cars, we need personal automobiles for important things, but you know, why take needless you know, it's like, why take needless chances? The more you drive, you know, the more you're driving out in traffic, you know, the more you're sort of in on this this cosmic billiard ball table, and you don't know when or if your luck might run out, but you can kind of control some of that if you just are like, hey, you know, I'm not gonna go out today, or I need to go somewhere, but I don't need to drive over there. It's a short distance, and I can walk and have more control over what may or may not affect me physically. Like I'm kind of somebody who's rather anxious in traffic, especially lately, where I feel like you know, I have a lot of these dreams and ambitions, you know, but if I you know, die in a car crash, then they all turn to dust. And, you know, I'm not, a part of my brain is like, well, I'm not going to let that, you know, I'm going to do everything it may not be entirely within my control, but I'll do everything within my power to reduce needless probabilities that might crush a lot of my ambitions. But then if my ambitions are causing me to be paranoid like that, sorry, I'm about to take a drink. I have one of those, excuse me, probably gonna burp a little bit because this is one of those sparkling ice drinks. I don't really drink soda unless it's 0 sugar, and I probably shouldn't be drinking that either. But I don't really drink soda, so I drink these sparkling ice drinks just to have something carbonated and caffeine and relatively sugar-free, but they're probably full of some kind of sweetener that gives you cancer or something. Excuse me. But the carbonation kind of tickles my throat, and you know, when I've been talking for a while, it's like, you know, drinking like a bicarbonate. But yeah, like I was saying, but on the flip side, you could argue, well, if those ambitions and desires of yours are making you so paranoid that you're afraid to drive to the convenience store because you're worried that maybe you'll be tempting the fate that some tweaker is going to be behind the wheel and not looking where he's going. You know, are those ambitions maybe imprisoning you? You know, by creating this sense of paranoia and fear. You know, so there's two sides of the coin, and I think there's a valid point in there's a valid point in each perspective. And I suppose it's a very relative. It's very relative. It's very much dependent on who you are and what your ambitions are, and you know, what sacrifices you're willing to make or to not make in your sort of personal journey to be who you want to be within the time that you have on this earth, which may be a long time, it may be a short time, and it may be something that is mostly within your control, or maybe something that's kind of outside your control for various reasons. I think that's not to get too like philosophical or metaphysical or anything, because I don't want to bore anyone, but that is something that I think people probably should think about when they discuss like the problems of fate, you know, free will and determinism. We always assume that we always kind of just assume that whatever the answer is, it applies equally to everyone, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe some people have more freedom to decide what their destiny is going to look like than other people do, and maybe some people will have more control than over things than others do. Maybe for some people they have to come to terms with a more deterministic universe because that's their universe, but maybe within the same space somebody else that doesn't apply to somebody else within the same space who maybe has certain qualities or lives in certain conditions where they don't need to come to terms with anything. They just need to find that sort of drive within themselves to achieve what they want to achieve what their desires are. So I don't think I think people are a bit too absolutist about that kind of stuff. All right, come on. Come on. Got it. Yes. All right. No, no. This is like the easiest one. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble on it. Crap, it's on. Really? Okay, it's been almost 2 hours. Am I really going to waste all the time that I set aside like 2 to 3 hours just so I could beat this, and am I really gonna get stuck on jungle Jinx? Okay. Jump, jump, jump. It's kind of on rails, as long as you don't make like one mistake. As long as you get like the timing just right. There we go. Boom. Boom. All right. Did he? Get it. Thank you, Diddy. Boom. 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 Oh. Okay, that guy, that's the banana dude. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Crap. You're supposed to... Let me see if he'll respawn. Okay, good. Now, come here. Just get him, and then do that. And then you do this. Alright, cool. Lost World 1, done. We can head right to the Crocodile core and just fight K. Rool. But we're gonna go ahead and just go through all the Lost World stages. I can't promise that I will beat the one where you play as all of the animals without using the rewind or save states, but I'll try. I'll give it a good try. Is it Creme Quay or Creme K? I don't know how to pronounce it. All right, come here, Klobber. Here you are. Choose me 8 meats. The barrel's all yours. Okay, Black Ice Battle. I actually like this one. It's a little long, like a lot of the levels in this game, but I think this might be my favorite of these Lost World levels. It just has a nice pacing to it, and most of the hazards don't feel cheap. The only exception I would say is probably like some of these there's the guys that throw the hooks are in this one. All right, come on. Boop, boop. One thing about this this game too, with a lot of the level design, is it's sort of a game that punishes you for being too patient. You know, you kind of want to just... There's a lot of times where you just want to take a breather and just survey everything and maybe explore little crevices for things you might have missed, or just just scout. And a lot of the levels in DKC2, they don't really give you that that luxury. You have some guy with a barrel suit chasing after you and ready to like steal all your lives, your life balloons, and your bananas. Ugh. There's quite a few stages that have that feeling to them. Like this level is sort of expecting you to memorize it through repeated trial and error, and just freaking just steamroll right through it and get like it's a race. If you sort of stay in one spot for too long, you'll like be sliding around, or something's gonna come after you, something's gonna hit you. But I do think this is one of the stronger ones of the Lost World levels. Its challenge feels more reasonable. And I'm not sure if I've really clarified what I mean by that really in this playthrough, because I feel like I've said that I've mentioned how sometimes the difficulty in the other DKC games is more quote-unquote balanced, more fair, or more, reasonable, and maybe I struggle to define what I mean by that. Damn it. And just kind of assume that maybe people kind of have some vague sense of what I'm trying to say. Unfortunately, when it comes to stuff like when you're trying to critique or review stuff like video games, music, and stuff where there's a lot of subjectivity naturally, you're always going to sort of use terms that you've heard, that you feel like, yeah, this kind of gives a vague sense. This maybe gives a vague sense to what I'm trying to say, or what I'm trying to communicate, and I guess that's good enough. Because it's not like math or reviewing something from a more mathematical or technical standpoint. At least not all the time. There is a lot, there's a lot you can criticize from a more objective rather than subjective standpoint when it comes to a video game. In addition to the subjective parts. There you go. Oh. Okay, I think Dixie really comes in handy right here. Oh, no. Just do this. Got it. See, that one didn't take nearly as long as Jungle Jinx, or Jungle whatever it was called, the wheel. Meals on Wheels. So, wait, why are you here? Oh, okay. No, Cranky, I don't need you. Okay, go over to Funky. Hire the plane. Where's my drink? And we're off to Crazy Kremland. But we're not going to ride any of the rides because we didn't buy any tickets. Let's see, where are you? Here you are. Thanks for the booty. You're me best mateys now. Klobber Karnage. Huh, this was one that I beat with Diddy. I wonder why. Yeah, there's usually something hidden behind these little totems. Alright, you. Take that. Alright, Diddy. There. Once you've mastered that roll, that like mid-air roll jump, it's so much fun. You can really impress your friends. Got the K. See. Ooh, that was really close. Funny enough, none of the barrel levels in this game, not even like Bramble Scramble or whatever it's called, are as hard in my opinion as the Barrel Blast Canyon in Donkey Kong Country 1. Hey, stop taking my fruit. Stop taking my fruit, you newt. No. Oh. Okay. Did he? Yeah, but Barrel Canyon Blast is just Barrel Canyon in the northern cremasphere of DKC1 is just a nightmare. That is such a gatekeeper level, if there ever was one. Oh. Now. Oh, no, Diddy. Oh, thank goodness. Ugh. Really? I like his face. Okay, so what do I need you for? Do I need you for anything? No, just go away. Already got all the stuff in this. No. Did I reach a checkpoint? Yeah, I did. Okay. Alright, let's wait for you. Come on. Oh, okay. There. Ah, damn. Oh. Crap. think the reason why I beat this with the reason why I beat this with Diddy was because I kept losing Dixie every time I was trying to get into her barrels. Ow. Now. Boom. 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 So close. Go. There you go. Ooh. So what else can I talk about while I'm grinding away at this? I did try to talk about it when I tried to go, you know, do the extra mile for the, cause I only uploaded the first half of the stream I did Friday because I was getting a little tired during the second half and getting irritated with also getting irritated with looking for coins. But I did talk a bit about how the Square Enix like revealed a lot of Final Fantasy VII content and a lot of my sentiment that that I kind of feel like the whole Final Fantasy VII remake thing, it just feels like a big drip feed sort of deal where they're trying to find any excuse to just be able to make more Final Fantasy VII content to profit off the brand. But as I was trying to, I think I can kind of articulate better now what I was trying to say before, that really, the main problem with stuff like the Final Fantasy VII Remake is that it's not the idea of doing something different. It's just that there's a kind of remake-itis going around in the game industry right now, and the Final Fantasy VII Remake is a huge like spearhead for that trend. And along with, as I mentioned and kept in the archive, along with like the Resident Evil franchise, you know, they're both Square and Capcom are on like this remake, this big remake kick. But the main issue I have with the Final Fantasy VII Remake is just that you can only modernize something so much before it loses all its character. With the case of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, the original Final Fantasy VII was a very classical turn-based RPG that was developing on a lot of the system of Final Fantasy VI. The Magicite system and the Materia system are very similar. And even the sense of presentation and a lot of the themes are very similar too. But it was, the original Final Fantasy VII was a very traditional turn-based RPG with a very revolutionary cinematic style presentation, but this cinematic presentation was also very steeped in a lot of the tropes and the the sort of tone and style of storytelling that was very common in like 90s, particularly, though not exclusively, in like 90s Japanese anime. There is kind of, when you play the original Final Fantasy VII, the sense of humor, a lot of the way that the character designs and the way the characters interact, and some of the themes of the story, you do that. It feels very much in line with popular TV anime of that era. There's almost a bit of I guess stuff you can kind of get a feeling. There's a lot more. Let me put it this way. There is a lot more Outlaw Star in the original Final Fantasy VII than there is. Dang, that would have been nice if I made that. There's a lot more Outlaw Star in the original Final Fantasy VII than there is Kingdom Hearts. And it's just the change. The Final Fantasy VII remake is more in line with the kind of tone and changes in RPG and anime presentation from like the mid 2000s onward. And that itself is not really a bad thing. It's just that with the Final Fantasy VII remake, as you continually modernize something, and this goes also for the Resident Evil remake, all of the recent Resident Evil remakes, when you've modernized so much of the game, and you excuse it with the reasoning that, oh, well, the game needs to be modernized, it sort of begs a certain question as to what you may have actually liked, if anything, about the original Final Fantasy VII. Like, I highly doubt that in the remake, you're going to do things like steal Tifa's panties in the flashback, or have the option to steal Tifa's panties and affect your dating sim relationship with her, your invisible dating sim points with her, like you do in the original Final Fantasy VII. And, you know, they're already kind of retconning things in the story. They're finding different excuses to try to expand it into a much larger narrative than it, and incorporate all the stuff that they tried to add and retcon when they were first trying to turn Final Fantasy VII into its own franchise. This isn't anything new. They did this before, and it didn't really work out as well as they'd hoped. It was relatively successful, but then they took a big hiatus, and then eventually it was like, okay, well, you know, what do we do now? Let's just make more Final Fantasy VII stuff. They kind of want to remake, and we keep teasing them about it. Let's just get to that, and then you know, I would have been okay with just a normal, like a 2-disc game, modern 2-disc game. And if they kept all of the stuff that was different, from the story changes, the new characterizations, the retcons to make it fit with the other supplementary material that they came up with later, and even the different combat system, I would have been okay with everything. I'd be okay with everything if it was just like one remake, and it was like, okay, we finished that, now we can do the Crisis Core remaster and the Dirge of Cerberus remaster and whatever, and then make another game, I'd still kind of feel like, you're kind of milking this thing. But I would have been a little less offended. That's the problem, I think, with the FF7 remake as it stands, is that something about it kind of offends me. In a sense that the goal, the ambition, or the goal behind, okay, we're not just going to remake Final Fantasy VII and remaster the spin-off games. What we're gonna do is we're gonna completely we're gonna turn it into a trilogy, or better yet, we'll turn it into a trilogy, and then we'll make we have 6 more projects in the works. We don't know how long it's going to take for us to finish this expansive story, and it's it's not because there's anything inherently deeper about Final Fantasy VII that requires that. It's just because, oh yeah, this was the big game that put our company on the map, and we're going to try to capture lightning in the bottle once again. Because either we're out of ideas, or we don't want to, we just want to. It's just an easy bet to just keep making Kingdom Hearts games and keep making, just slapping Final Fantasy VII on any and everything that we can. It's just, and that kind of feels so transparent that it really bugs me when really hardcore Final Fantasy VII fanboys kind of act as though I don't know, it's anything deeper than what it really it appears to be. I keep doing it. I need to. Yeah, I know what to do. Did somebody text me? Hold on, give me just a second. Sorry about that. No, nobody texted me. For some reason, my phone just makes the noise that says I got a text when it's just a Verizon update. But of a lot of all the stuff that I saw, that I've seen of what Final Fantasy is coming out of Final Fantasy VII, that one mobile game where it seems more like just a straight up a straight up remake of the original Final Fantasy VII, or something, or a more straightforward turn-based remake of FF7, and it's for mobile. I think that kind of looks interesting, and I might be willing to pay for that if it's just I don't know, if it seems like it gets good reception. And by good reception, I mean it gets more than just a good review because it has Final Fantasy VII in the name. But in general, I just don't like this whole I don't really like this whole Final Fantasy VII oversaturation. Because again, the motivations to me feel way too transparent. it's obvious what it is. It's just exploiting this one game because it's easier than trying to make something because it's easier just to, I guess it's just easier to prey on the nostalgia of the hardcore Final Fantasy VII fanboys. But even so, a lot of those fanboys I don't feel that sorry for if maybe there's things about the product that are now like kind of upsetting them. You know, simply because in some respects the Final Fantasy VII fan base, if there's something about the current slew of Final Fantasy VII products that they don't like, then I feel like they kind of had it coming because they could have just said no. they could have made it clear. I don't know what I'm saying. Sorry. I'm sitting here trying to shoot barrels. My point is that Final Fantasy VII is way too exploited by Square. And they should have just made a straightforward 2-disc remake and just left it at that and just moved on to a new project. Or just moved on to finishing other projects that they didn't finish. Because they wanted to put all their eggs in the Final Fantasy VII basket. That's what I'm kind of getting at. And for people who really like the Final Fantasy VII remake, I think that's fine. But there's a certain point I do have to wonder if you felt that Final Fantasy VII desperately needed like such a huge overhaul, and you feel like everything the remake did is an improvement. I don't know. I mean, the remake is not really the same game because so much is different and so much has been changed for quote unquote modern audience, modern players, or modern sensibilities or whatever. That I don't know. I mean, it makes me think: what exactly did people get out of the original that makes them feel like the remake, with its changes in the game, in the core gameplay and the tone? What do they expect me to do? Like, what did the people who play the Final Fantasy VII remake and say, yes, this is exactly what I wanted, what did they actually get out of the original? Because it feels like, because I would want to say to you, like, I think you and I got two totally different things out of the original game. There's like some sort of, we're following like we both played the same game, but as far as what we liked about it and what we and why we liked it, it feels like we're following two completely separate threads. And I feel like the remake is one thread where it's like I'm looking, people like me are kind of looking over at the people who are following behind it, who are following that thread and being like, where did that come from? Like, that's what you got out of it? That's how you envisioned it. This is the ideal version of it that you envisioned. And so, I mean, and I guess the fact that, too that it starts to, that sometimes it can feel like you can't feel that way, otherwise you're being nitpicky or something. I guess that gets kind of irritating. So it sort of makes people like me feel like, you know, more of a need to really criticize it simply because there's a sense, there's sometimes can feel like there's a sense of you're not allowed to criticize it. And I don't really like that. I've never liked that when it comes to like video games, especially like any popular video game, the idea that you have to like this thing. Okay. Like, you have to like this thing, and not only do you have to like it, but you have to really be I didn't mean to turn it diagonally. You have to like this new thing, and you have to be appreciative. And you know, for me, it's like I don't have to be grateful or appreciative for anything as far as video games are concerned. You know, you're like, it may sound like a very I don't know, maybe it does sound like a bit of a stereotypically edgy gamer, you know, gamer dork thing to say, but it's like, you're making games for my benefit in the sense that, like, you know, I'm the one buying this game, you're the one making the game for me to play. And if I am looking at this product and I'm like, this looks like shit, or this just looks stupid, or it doesn't look, or even like it doesn't look bad, but it's just not what I wanted. The idea of, oh well, you know, you're entitled. That's silly. When it comes to, if there's any one thing that people are justified to feel a little entitled about, it's probably video games. Just because video games are so, like, in the grand scheme of things, not that important. Ah, damn. It's too precise. I will say that if there's one, I will say though that as far as that whole entitled thing goes, sometimes some of the comments I read about, like, people who are really against stuff like DLC or who want to virtue signal about microtransactions, I wouldn't say that comes across as entitled, like annoyingly entitled. It's more of just that, you know, people kind of preaching to the choir. You know, I'm not a big fan of microtransactions, and I'm okay with DLC as long as it doesn't feel like, wait, this should have been in the original base game. This doesn't feel like this feels like something that was that should have been available at launch. But in general, even with like stuff in the games industry that people hate or see as bad, I might very well be able to say, hey, you know, I don't like it, but let the companies experiment with it and just vote with, you know, just as fedora tippy as it sounds, just vote with your wallet. Because that's a lot of times that's all you can do. You know, and I guess going back to Linus Tech Tips, that tweet he tweeted out and everybody got mad at him for it, where he was like, there's a lot wrong with the games industry, but we pretty much bring it on ourselves. You know, he said something like that, something about microtransactions, and he's right. He's right. But I got plenty of games to play that don't have stuff that I don't have things like that I don't really care for very much. But even with like something like microtransactions too, I can't be too absolutist about it and be like, hey, there is no game with what might be considered microtransactions that I don't like. I mean, I've never played Genshin Impact, but I don't know. I mean, I've spent I don't think I spent anything, but I have played my share of Fire Emblem Warriors or Fire Emblem Heroes, you know, and grinded for orbs and had an okay time. Yeah, I don't think I spent any money on orbs, and I don't understand anyone who would spend $40 on stuff like that. But I don't know. And then of course, you know, you have stuff like that Warframe game that has like a lot of people feel like it's probably the best example of a more consumer friendly and generally respectful microtransaction model. I've never played it, so I can't really comment on that. Oh my god, no. I gotta do that again. But, you know, I guess, you know, I'm always in favor of people being allowed to experiment with any sort of new, to experiment with different, like, things like that, and just kind of, without really, like, any too many arbitrary regulations. But I also, excuse me, I also understand why people dislike it, and I also understand, you know, I also generally agree with a lot of the arguments against it. It's just, you know, I just, like I said, I don't like the what I feel is a kind of virtue signaling about it. You're not like a better gamer or whatever than other people because you make X amount of daily posts about why you don't like microtransactions, and why people who, you know, play something like Genshin Impact and maybe spend like $3 or something on it now, like a week or something, or $10 on it a week, you know, are stupid. You know, chances are you're spending way more than that on a bunch of games that that just take up your digital library or your game shelf that you barely even play. My voice is getting a little hoarse. I'm sorry about that. I'll have to take another drink of really soon. This is, gosh, this is. Maybe I just need to pay attention. Or maybe I don't need to pay attention. With this game, it feels like sometimes if I pay attention, I just do worse. And other times it feels like, I don't know. Sometimes it just feels like it's better for me to just keep talking and you know, try to turn my brain off. Go away. Go away. These barrels turn way too slow. It's way too based on memorization. You can't respond. You literally cannot, like, you can only respond so fast. Damn it. No! Ah! That... You have to hold the right, but you have to hold right so he has a higher chance of going over the B, but you have to let go of right at a super precise moment, otherwise it will turn the barrel once you fall right in. That's why that keeps tripping me up, because it's stupid. That's the problem with this game. This game isn't hard, it's just stupid at times. Damn it. I don't know how I'm gonna beat the animal level if I can't really like handle this. I've beaten it. I've done it. God. Go away. Now. Okay. So okay, don't hold right too soon. No, no, no. You got to do it at the exact millisecond that we want you to do it, because I don't know, that was how we programmed the NES games. Never mind that we're using far more highly detailed CG models that are ultra compressed, where it's much harder to get a good intuitive sense of where the hitboxes are than it is on an 8-bit sprite that's only like 16 pixels. Here we go. Here's the section where there's no way you're going to be able to get past this unless you've memorized it. Because that's what makes something hard, is just memorizing something. Oh, you didn't tap it. You didn't tap it at just the right pressure. Ah. Go away. Alright. Boom, boom. Now, get the bananas. There. Get that. Get the N. I'm Diddy, so go ahead and do that. You have to, like, just tap it. You have to just tap the right. You can't hold. If you hold it, you're probably gonna die. There. Bananas. Get that. Boom. 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 Boop. 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 Okay. There. Got it. I deserve that rap. Alright, I think the next one is the stupid animal. The stupid 17-minute animal animal stage. First, I think I'm gonna go back to Pirate Panic and get some lives. Here we go. But now that I can think a little more clearly, yeah, I might have finished my thought on the Resident Evil 4 remake last stream, but a lot of it is a lot of the criticisms there are the same towards like the Final Fantasy VII remake. Just there is a difference between remake and reinterpretation, and in some cases I feel like people will get different things out of the same game that when a game is reimagined or remade or reimagined, I guess I'm saying there's a bit of a disconnect between different fans of the same property or the same video game, where one group of fans gets one thing out of it and another group of fans gets another thing out of it. And so when if the game is remade or reinterpreted in a certain way, in a very specific way that caters to a very specific kind of fan, then another group of fans will kind of be looking at it and will look at it and be like, wait, that's your ideal version? You know, that's what you get out of it? And I don't know, there's just a bit of a, there's a bit of a disconnect. I don't understand the point of that Last of Us remake, other than just like, you know, again, it's the remake-itis. You can remake it, and then everybody's just gonna buy it because it's new, and because every streamer is gonna be playing it. It's the same reason why, like, for as much as people complained about, like, again, going back to the whole microtransaction thing, everybody complained about EA, huge scandal and everything. Everybody's like, oh yeah, we showed them. And then they bought Battlefront 2 anyway because they couldn't pass up the chance to review it on their YouTube channels. And then they wonder why. They wonder why the things they don't like keep happening. But like I said, you know, I'm not an absolutist when it comes to a lot of things that I don't particularly like. I might not like a certain mechanic or a certain business model, but I'm not going to say that business model is always has to be bad. Sometimes too, mistakes have to be made for a kind of equilibrium to be established, and there's responsibility on both sides. There's responsibility on the player's side to make it very clear, like, no, this is not what I want. Change it, you know, change it or get rid of it, you know. But this in this form, this thing in this form is not what I wanted, and I'm not going to pay you for it. You know, go, you know, like, if you want to say I'm entitled, so be it. You know, it's not my fault if you are worried about, you know, working on this product for nothing because you didn't stop to think if your target audience or target consumer base really wanted it. And also, I mean, there is responsibility on the corporate side too, on the publisher side or the developer side to have a little more common sense and to not just be over eager to cash in on a trend, whether it's a business trend or a political trend or a creative trend, because I don't know, just because it's what's viral at the moment. You know, how about if you trust me, it might not seem like the most profitable thing to do, but there is a benefit to making sure your company always has at least a certain degree of integrity and a certain degree of self-respect. Let me take a drink of normal water. We're almost through. We're almost done with it. Pardon. I am probably going to have to edit this. Like, there's probably going to be a... I prefer to keep these streams as raw as possible, just because, you know, it's a good juxtaposition with like stuff like the playpen and the short 'em ups episodes. But also it compels me to try to be like, oh, okay, this is going to have to all go up as one video. I shouldn't, you know, I should try to prepare myself a bit better and try to put more effort into making sure that my conversations are interesting and coherent, and that my performance as far as playing the game is adequate enough. But given how long this is probably going to go, because I am finishing this game tonight. I don't care. I want to get it over with. I'm tired of playing this. I just want to move on to a new game. As far as a new game to stream, I just want to move on. All right, I got enough. All right, time to go see Funky. Fly me away, Funky. Oh, my back. Like I said, I haven't really slept in like... It'll probably be almost 48 hours now. Maybe. I don't know. But, you know, I'm getting all the physical aches from that. But I'm willing to make that sacrifice for any of you guys out there. We are finishing this tonight, no matter what. Very well on this fine day. Okay, what do we got? What do you got for me? Okay, Fiery Furnace. I can do this one. I think I'm okay with this one. All right. Porcupine. I think sometimes, depending on the stage, the porcupines go at different speeds. Like, they seemed a little faster than normal. So do these guys. That is one thing that these games do, is they kind of play with like how fast like enemies come at you. It might be the same enemy that you're used to, but it's like speeding towards you like Sonic. Ooh. Cheap. Very cheap. Alright. And boom, 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 boom. Ugh. Get over here. Nope. I'm just gonna follow the banana path. Damn it. Alright, let's do it. Oh! I got a scared. Getting scared is is one thing that trips you up in this game. Especially as far as the barrel stuff goes. Ugh. Dang it. Okay. Have it your way. Get over here, woman. You come down here, and then he's like the only one who does it. The other ones don't do it. Give me that. What? So you're gonna come down here, and I'm gonna miss you. There. Gotcha. What? Ugh. This hit detection. Alright, get over there. Ugh. It always feels so inconsistent. Alright, come on. Right, get over here. Ah! sick of these guys. Go away. Die. Get over here. Alright. You go away. Go away. Go away. Playing it safe with Dixie. I shouldn't. Alright. Boom, boom. Alright, now there's porcupines. There. Okay. So what are we looking at here? Boom. Alright, so go over here. Boom. Got it. I'm glad I remembered that. Alright, so here we go. Take that. I should have saved it for him. Alright, Dixie, I need you to get over here. Oh. Well, I got to the checkpoint. That's good. Ah! I don't have time for you. Really? That is a lot to keep track of. Okay, so the ones with the recycle thing, they keep going. You can just shoot out of them as much as you want. But the ones with the pads immediately go away, even if the timer is still going. It's... Ah! Really? These are very... These are very silly slopes. I'll tell you that. What? Ugh. All right. Die. Jump up. Come on. Come on. Okay. Go away. Over here. No, why did I do that? Ugh. Ah. Go. Go. Oh my god! I hate when that happens. It, like, drags. It... Ugh! Go away. I pressed it. I pressed jump. It's not my fault that the Switch Joy-Cons... that the Switch Online version probably has some, like, 0.5 seconds of input lag. Go. No, no. Not dealing with you stupid slopes. Oh my gosh. Ah. All right, cool. That was nice and smooth. Just stay. All right. Bananas mark the path. Just follow the bananas. That should be like a... You should be able to hit him right there. I'm getting very, very upset. Okay, they want you to do the cartwheel jump every time. They want it to be like... That's the problem with some of these levels. Like, it's too specific. You need to give the player a little bit of flexibility, so they can do things in their own way. If you make it too, like, rigorous, then it just... It's like, as soon as, like, something, like... Especially with these older games where you couldn't fine-tune everything. You didn't have the tech to fine-tune every single thing to, you know... to exact, always consistent and exact, like, specifications. You know, there's always, like, especially in older games, there's always, like, contingencies that are outside of you or the game's control. And so you have to give the player a little bit of flexibility so if they make a mistake, they can recover from it. And for the most part, this game is okay with that. But these Lost World levels, it's just, like... It's too precise. And again, they're not hard, they're just kind of stupid. And there's a difference. And if you don't know the difference, then I don't know what to say. You probably... It's probably dangerous for you to be playing video games. Because you might hurt yourself. See, they need you to do it, like, at a specific pace, but, like, okay, then just have it be an insta-kill as soon as I deviate from the intended path. Like, don't tease me like you've made it flexible when you haven't. Donkey Kong Country 1 is very flexible. Outside of the Barrel Canyon Blast level. Excuse me. All right. Very burpy. Like, I feel like in those, sometimes it, like, it's not, for most barrel levels, it's not, like, a big deal that you can't, like, recover. But, I don't know, with the way these are designed, I feel like you maybe you should have had something where, like, you can get out of the roll, and then maybe if you're, and then maybe jump once. Do that. All right. Got it. Okay, so now they want you to do this. All right. I'm not bothering with you two. No! And they're going to start you all the way back there. You make these levels need, some of these levels need 2 checkpoints. With how long they are. Or with how tedious they are. Alright. But I think I got it. I think I can do it this time. Just gotta make sure. Just do everything pretty much. Ah, loser. Okay. Boom. Boom. Ah. you should be allowed to make one little backtrack. Like, you see right there, all I did that really messed up the pace was just like, oh, I have to back up for like 1 second, and it just completely ruins it. But it's like, I don't know, it feels like, well, there's no way to recover. Might as well just kill me right there as soon as I don't do exactly what you want me to do. All I care about is just getting this done. There. Alright, so I think we just have one more. It's the freaking what's it called? Yeah, this is going on almost this is about 3 hours now. I'm gonna have to trim this down a bit. This is not what Tuesday streams are gonna be. Tuesday streams are going to be short streams. I just want to get this game done because it's been pissing me off. Probably just need to talk about something. What can I talk about? What can I talk about that I'm just going to feel like I messed up and couldn't articulate myself right and sounded like a retard? Please, Ramby, just work with me here. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Ramby. You uplifted my mood considerably. And for that, I thank you. For that, I will donate. After this stream, I'll donate $3 to some rhinoceros conservation charity of some kind. Just for Ramby. Speaking of animal conservation, I have been considering maybe... I'm not vegetarian, but I don't really eat very much meat. I have considered maybe going just full vegetarian, but I feel like if I was going to do that, I'd want to have like one last really good meat meal. I don't think I could ever go vegan though. I need milk and cheese. But I don't know. There's a lot of reasons that I don't know if I should share them just yet as to why, like, I might consider being, adopting a more complete vegetarian diet rather than just like the sort of intermittent vegetarianism that I live by now. I've just always had a soft spot for animals, I guess, and I don't know. It's one of those things, I suppose, where, you don't always know for sure what's right and what's wrong. So it's like, well, maybe I could at least try my best to not do any harm. What's right and wrong, I guess, in the more, like, spiritual or religious sense. I think, I guess I'm not a bit, like, I think I'm okay with, like, the idea of vegetarianism, but I don't like the whole idea of vegetarianism that isn't really, I don't know, isn't really somehow connected with something more spiritual. I think just going vegetarian purely because, I don't know, that you don't make, I don't know, you think that animals and human beings are, like, equal in some more political sense. I don't know if I could really ever co-sign on that, but I could co-sign on the whole, like, I don't know, the whole, like, Buddhist or Jain, kind of idea of just, like, not doing any harm. But I don't know, that's something I'm still kind of on the fence about. We'll see, though. It wouldn't be a big change from my current diet. I eat pretty healthy. Not drinking sugary soda and not eating fast food, even if you still eat meat, is definitely helpful. Keeps you nice and lean. Gold, we were already there, so now we're going over here. So yeah, I think this might be the last one before. Yep, it is. So here we go. Last one before the core. Okay, how do you get there? Where is the path? Oh man, yeah, the gaming in the Clinton years guy is right. There needs to be dots. The Kremling Lost World. I feel like just calling it the Lost World, like in Mario, was a bit of a wasted opportunity. Could have called it the Crocs World or something. Boom. Okay, so this is the animal one. I hate this one. Well, I don't hate it. I hate like the second half of it. This part's fine. I can do this part. Boom. See, that's what I mean by recovery. I could probably just do the supercharge through this, but I'm not going to take that risk. I'm going to have to do it here. But yeah, when I was in school, when I believed that I could make something of myself in school, I did like a few papers on like on particularly focusing on like religious studies. That wasn't really like my major. That wasn't my major or anything, but I learned, I learned a lot. I managed to teach myself a lot. I would say the most beneficial thing I ever got out of college, my brief stint in there, was learning. I had a teacher who was an adjunct professor, and she was very, very much. I wrote a really good paper, and she really liked the paper, but she was like, "No, I have to pretty much fail you for this paper because of, like, it was coherent. I mean, it was definitely like probably it was just like things like not like bad citation, and use of contractions when the style had to be formal and stuff like that. She was very pedantic in how she graded it, and you would think that that would be something very annoying, but it was something I appreciated. Gotta watch out for those things. It was something I very much appreciated because it was exactly what I needed to better my writing. She didn't necessarily be like, oh well, she wasn't. She was like, you're too smart to be writing like this. And so I was glad for that, because I feel like throughout a lot of my academic career, I've sometimes gotten a bit of a pass because teachers and professors were somewhat impressed that I seemed either very well read, or more well read than a lot of other students, or I just seemed able to kind of piece things together a little better than other students. Out of what little I knew. And so they were like, okay, this kid has a good head on his shoulders. I'm not gonna flunk him because of like, something arbitrary, or something as far as like all. I'm not gonna force him to sweat all the technical stuff, because he's smarter than, or not smarter, but I enjoy having him as a student much more than some of the other students who don't seem to care about the subject matter, or don't seem to care about learning. So I'm going to give him a bit of a pass. And I understand that, and I appreciate that, but I also feel like, there was a lot of cases I really needed to learn the more technical side of things. I couldn't just skate by because, oh, you got a quote unquote good head on your shoulders. That's not, you don't need that. You don't need a compliment like that. You need to actually learn how to do technical work, how to learn a practical skill. And so I appreciate that professor in particular for being much more ruthless in how she graded my paper. Because even now, when I'm like, okay, I need to write a formal email or a formal letter, I know exactly how to write it. Or I need to write a script, and I need to do it in a formal style, and I'm writing, like, I'm doing research for something, not related to school, but maybe related to some of the stuff I'm doing, on this channel and my main channel. And so it's like, I think that really helped me to just have somebody who was willing to flunk me because I made too many punctuation mistakes, and pulled me aside and like, no, you need to learn how to do this. Like, you need to learn how to do this right, so that way you can use that big brain power of yours in a practical way. Boing. Boing, boing, boing. Ah, I should just swim up there. The unguard part is not that hard. It's the parrot. It's the parrot and the snake. They're the bad ones. The spider, I guess, too, but no, it's just long. Because it's the spider. I know with a lot of other kids and a lot of other students, even well up to the college level, there is kind of there is sometimes a sense of like, when am I going to use this? You know, why do I need to learn this when I got a big brain. I know things. Why do I need to like, why should this like be the determining thing in whether or not I get a good grade? Here we go. Shouldn't it be enough that I understand the subject matter and I have a passion for the subject matter? And that particular professor was one of the professors who was like, no, you have, like, and I know that other people would have been like, ugh, you know, like, why does she have to do this to me? But I think that was something, you know, because I've always been somebody who people always tried to say, oh, well, you're so smart, you know, you're so smart and you're gonna go places with that big brain of yours. But it's like, I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to do anything useful. Or I don't know any useful skills to where I can, like, that would serve me just as well in academic life as it would in secular life, so that I can actually advance. You know, it's like a lot of good at being feeling like you're a walking Trivial Pursuit is gonna do. You know, and a lot of good having a lot of obscure knowledge is gonna do you if you don't know how to, like, you don't know even know how to communicate it in a way where other people will be able to sufficiently learn from you, and, you know, may be able to, you know, apply that to their lives in a more individually or socially beneficial way than you can. Ugh. Right, give me that. Just gotta hold up and shoot the web. Just take your time, Psych. There we go. Maybe the reason I'm not doing so well right now, haven't been doing so well tonight, is because I haven't been wearing my hat. Okay, so here's the win thing. I don't like this part. This part sucks. And then if you lose, you have to do the whole thing from Ramby onward. And I don't have a life in more ways than one. Oh. Oh no, okay, good. They start me off with the spider, and I have plenty of lives to do it. Ugh. But what I was trying to mention was that when I was in school, I didn't really minor in religious studies, but because I was in the social sciences, that was one religious studies and religious history was something I kind of was specializing in to some degree, and so I had to do I chose, well, I didn't have to, but I chose to do like a paper on obscure. Usually obscure sects or of major religions like the biblical and Abrahamic religions, or I did a paper on like Jainism. That was pretty well received. And I just, I don't know, I just wish that, damn it, I just kind of wish that I don't regret a lot of the things I learned. It's just, like I was just saying, like, there was kind of this sense of, okay, yeah, I mean, I have this big encyclopedia of knowledge, but I don't know how to do anything useful, either with that knowledge or anything useful to complement it that would let me, like, advance so that I can have the leisure time to more better leisure time to study and more meaningfully pursue that kind of knowledge, so it's just that, and I guess that's kind of where part of the PsychWard, the inspiration for the PsychWard came in. So it was some sort of way for me to combine a lot of to try to find some kind of common thread in myself where I could learn, set myself on a path to learn more practical skills while also still doing and talking about the things that interest me and that I usually have had a lot of more obscure knowledge on than maybe other people my age do, who aren't like frying their brain on old film noir movies and obscure religious and philosophical books or obsessed with, like, abstract art movements from like the 1920s or something, while at the same time complaining about Nintendo on Twitter. But no, I mean, I feel like things are looking up. As long as I'm still alive. For the moment, things are looking up and coming together a bit better than they were at other times the last few years. Ugh. I really need to keep... Nah, it's right there. Probably just need to spam eggs on that part. So just kind of make yourself a stairs and make sure to shoot any bee that gets too close. There, got it. There's a secret right there, but I already got it. You saw the exclamation point of the DK coin. There's nothing to collect here. Go. There. There. No, you bastard. Ah. They can't just start you off with the parrot. What's I wonder what is there? I wonder if there's like a consistent like timestamp of some kind where the checkpoint barrels are, because it seems kind of strange to me to not put the checkpoint where the parrot is, unless you're just deliberately trying to mess with the player. That's kind of a problem sometimes with games like with quote-unquote hard games like these. You can sometimes get the sense like, wait, is it really hard, or are they just trying to waste my time? Go. Steppity step. Square step. Only that secret up there was like a warp barrel of some kind. Oh, and I didn't run into them, but there are like shortcut barrels in some of the stages. I'm not sure if they put those in for the developer's sake, or if they left them in, like if they were more of a developer thing that they just left in for fun. But there's plenty of levels where there's a warp barrel that takes it. Oh my gosh, no. Oh my. Oh. Here we go. That helps. There. Come on. Come on, come on. There you go. Squitter step. Squitter step. Squitter step. Squitter step. Squitter step. Squitter step. Okay, that was a close one. I was looking at my microphone levels. And I thought I was gonna screw myself. Okay. They should have just given me the parrot right here. The parrot, or they should have put the checkpoint barrel right there, not in the spider stage. They only did it in the spider stage because the spider stage takes longer. And they just want to waste your time. So you'll get frustrated because you died on the... You spent all this time trying to get back to the parrot. Or you die with the parrot and then you die again. And you have to do it all over again. And you turn it off. Because you don't want to waste your time. Nope. Really? None of them hit. I'm very tempted to use the rewind. Very tempted. Because I do not like this level. These Lost World levels, like, except for like 2 of them, are just dumb. They're dumb. There are plenty of hard levels in this game that I would say are hard, like genuinely hard, but fun. These Lost World levels are not... 2/3 of them... No. Not 3. 3/5 of them... Excuse me. Are not hard, they're just stupid. And they're not fun. This is not very fun. This part is not designed because it's fun. It's designed just to waste your time. We want to waste these kids' time because we don't want them to get to the... We don't want them... They got this far. We don't want them to get any closer. Because otherwise... How are we going to advertise that this 10 megabyte game has 70 hours worth of gameplay? Because that's what's important. Just make the game bigger. Make the game seem bigger. Then the reviewers will praise it because it's you know, somehow of a game that's $60 in 1995 money that lasts you 40 hours because you're stuck on the same 2 levels is worth more than a game it takes 17 hours to beat. It's the same price and probably a lot more fair. And isn't full of cheap developer tricks, but you know, the games have to be like, you know, if a game is like 59 hours, it might be worth a good review from Electronic Gaming Monthly. But if it's 60 hours, that's $1 per hour. Alright, come on. There you go. Come on, Squawks. Don't fail me now, Squawks. Don't do this to me, Squawks. Come on, Squawks. Squawks, please. Squawks. Squawks, bro. Ugh, good, okay. Please give me a barrel. Give me a DK barrel. Just give it to me. Give it to me right here. Ugh, no. No, 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 no. Okay. Oh. Now. Alright. Okay, okay. Okay. This is where I wish I had some kind of Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, look, some sort. Did Sonic do that where you could hold L and you look right? Which game did that? I think it was Mario World. Oh. No! Damn it! Should have used a super jump. Now I have to do Squawks' thing all over again. First I gotta do a spider thing. Gotta play a Squitter. Squitter the shitter. I don't see how anyone can say the spider is their favorite. The spider sucks. I've heard people say they like the spider because they can do this. But you could, I mean, yeah, it'd be fun if you could, like, I can't stay up here. Because they want me to go down and get close to these things. Come on. Okay. Really? Okay. Just gotta make sure that you change direction. It's like half timing and half like triggered by where you are on the thing. Oh. Ah. Watch, we're gonna get to K. Rool, right? And I'm gonna beat him in like 4 tries or something. He's gonna watch. He's like gonna be easier or something than his first form. It's easy. I'm gonna use less lives than I've been using for this. I mean, I could just go to K. Rool already and just say forget this, but I want people to see the part that the part of the game I hate most. If you wonder why I'm a little harsh on the game sometimes, it's because of stuff like this. This is not fun. This is Not even really challenging, it's just stupid. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's the only, like, there's hard and there's dumb. There's hard, challenging, and dumb. And they're 3 different categories, and they're not the same thing. And if you don't understand the difference, I don't know, you're just dumb. You're just dumb yourself. I don't know what to say. Got a case of the dumbs. It's okay, it doesn't mean you're less of a person. Just means I'm probably gonna respond to you angrily on Twitter. Maybe you like that. Maybe you like me coming around and posting in your threads, leaving you wondering, why is this guy talking to me? He's not even a mutual. Because if I don't tell you that you're being dumb, who's going to? There we go. Okay. Alright, come on. Come on, Squawks. Squawks. Squawks, please, no. Please, Squawks. No! There's not really... What is the... There's other wind levels in the game that don't have... that are where it doesn't feel as inconsistent. On the one hand, it feels like it changes where based on like where you are in the stage in the little maze that you're flying through. And other times it feels like it changes based on your actions. It's just not consistent. And they're like, okay, well, it's okay if it's inconsistent as long as it's harder, quote unquote harder. And that's the problem with this game. They arbitrarily, there's all this arbitrary stuff that they do to make it harder, but it makes certain parts of the game just feel inconsistently designed. You want like flexibility, you want a certain degree of predictability. Doesn't mean you have to like, I don't know, there's just... This is a good example of, okay, instead of testing what the player has learned throughout all the levels that they've played with these animals, let's put them in stages where they play as these animals and completely change the rules that they're already used to. Like, you know... The way a level like this is supposed to be is that, okay, you know what, you've played so many of these levels with these animals. Here's a longer, more challenging level where the key to victory is like the skills you've learned. And if you understand what if you've mastered those skills, then this level will be a breeze. If you've shortcutted and cheap shotted your way through those other stages with them, then you're gonna have a problem. And you're gonna have to keep practicing. At this level, with this stage though, it feels like it's trying to turn a lot of the stuff with these animal partners on their head, because it's like, oh, well, it's unexpected, so therefore it's more challenging. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You can't just sit there and say, okay, well, something unexpected happened, something that they couldn't easily predict, so therefore it's more challenging. And I know that they don't always do that. They do it only when they feel a need to gatekeep. They really want you to just go through that whole thing at like a very specific pace, because I don't know. It's dumb. It's dumb. D-U-M-M. But I guess that's a problem I have with this game, is a certain lack of flexibility and predictability, and a lot of things that seem a bit arbitrary just to enhance the difficulty for difficulty's sake, or just you know, to gatekeep, to keep people from beating the game too soon. I mean, the hardest game, you know, I've played games that are much harder than this. Much harder. But where I didn't feel like... I shouldn't say games, because it's not the game, it's certain stages in the game. It's like, there's just certain stages where you can tell, I know exactly what you're doing. You're totally, like, flipping the script, because this was a level you decided had to be like, a much harder one. But you couldn't think of really any other way to make it harder other than just, I don't know, do something the player couldn't predict. Yeah, they kind of just want you to, like, charge. Like, see, they want you to do that. They want you to, because it's cool. It looks cool. There. Ah! The ice stage is fine. The ice stage is fine. What other one was okay? You know what? Even the tire one is not too bad. Even though I was having problems with the tire with Jungle Jinx, I don't think I'd much rather play that level than this level. This level sucks. And again, I think they had a scientific method of all their own. They knew most people are gonna die on the parrot, so did they add the checkpoint barrel right in front of right where you're about to get the parrot? No, because they want you to do this. It's not hard. All I'm doing is that. But you gotta do it like this. And that takes time. Probably takes me like a total of like 1 minute and 30 seconds on average. I'm sure there's a faster way to do it if you just do it, if you just let the thing go. But it still doesn't feel very fun. Yeah, see, I can just do that, and yeah, that's kind of faster, but it's not by much. Still just, for some reason, feels... very underwhelming. I want to finish this game so I can actually get some sleep. Who am I kidding? I'll probably just stay up. I'll probably be all energized and probably stay up. Probably on just one of my 72-hour binges. Yeah. You can do it slowly if you just get the turning right. But, yeah, see, you get stuck in situations like that. It's just dumb. There's no consistency to it. They don't want you to go slow because if you go slow, you might come up with a more surefire way to get through there without getting hurt. They want you to go fast because it looks cool and you're more likely to mess up on, like, because you can't just you miss that very, very pinpoint precise like window that you have to change your direction before the wind changes. It's like a dime stop, and if you mess up, they don't, you know, it's like, or if you, like you saw it right there, I was doing it more careful, and I got kind of stuck in some kind of feedback loop because it's not, they're not taking that into account, or they're deliberately trying to be like, no, you do it exactly the way we want you to do it. This one very specific way that just happens to be the way that puts you in the most peril, even though we could have just as easily let you take your time and get through there very safely. In fact, when you mess up, we're not going to kill you, we're just going to mislead you and make you think that you can recover. But we didn't playtest for you to recover. In fact, we deliberately made sure that you thought that you could recover, so that way we could just kill you instantly for not like doing it in the exact way we want you to. Yeah, see? It looks cool. I will admit it. It looks cool. It's just dumb. Okay, come on. No. Okay, so here we go. Alright, this is what you want you to do. Here we go. But you see what they did right there. The one corridor you're supposed to go down it super fast. Then they want you to sit there and tippity tap tap tap, and then they'll do it. They'll speed it up again. They want you to do it in a very specific way that creates a very specific visual effect. And if you mess it up, you're ruthlessly punished. But you're not just punished. You don't just die instantly because of it. You don't just die instantly. They give you this false hope that you can recover from it. When you really probably can't. You're just probably going to get, like I said, like you get stuck in some kind of feedback loop until you finally get back in there, and it just throws you it just, you know, decides, okay, you done playing around and thinking that you can do it in this other way that it makes perfect sense. Nope, sorry. You go back and do it exactly the way we mapped it out. Regardless of the engine. That's the problem with some. That's a big issue with some of these particular levels. That's what I feel like the design philosophy is here. Ah, the wind didn't change. The forest background reminds me of the freaking Jurassic Park game on Sega Genesis. I'm surprised that like the monochrome green background, that's like it's pretty much the same one you see in Donkey Kong Land. To be honest, the cloud level I would much rather play. Controversial hot take here. I would much rather be playing that cloud level, that cloud platform level in Donkey Kong Land than this garbage. This level is the worst in the entire game. It is the worst. It is not a good level. There are hard levels in this game that are fun to play. And there are even some levels with a little bit of nonsense that you can forgive because it's wacky, and you know, once you get the hang of it, you have fun. This is not fun. This is like just pure gatekeeping. And I know gatekeeping is a buzzword that people throw, and you know, people will say, you know, people will kind of make fun of you if you say that, because it's like saying something like, oh, artificial difficulty, or you know, game feel or something like that. But this, if there is a level that meets the criteria of what you sort of call gatekeeping in games, this is it. This is the level you show to people, as far as, like, gatekeeping goes. If somebody's like, gatekeeping's kind of a buzzword, I don't think it's really a thing, I'll show them this level. And they'll be like, okay, I understand. I know exactly what a gatekeeping level looks like. I know exactly what a level with arbitrary, stupid shit in it that's not fun to play. I know exactly what it looks like. Yes! No! Oh, why did I do that? I didn't... No, no. I beat the level. I beat the level. It's... No, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it again. No. I'm not wasting my time with that. I can beat K. Rool without rewind. This level is stupid. Okay, let's go ahead and just do the Crocodile core. All right, there's the big guy covered in seaweed. Covered in the wet wet weed. Yeah, see? Nothing to it. Definitely makes you sweat. Okay. You see, yep, my fault. I accept that. That is my fault. Animal Antics is not worth it. Yeah, see? Just roll the D-pad. Okay, so I do have to wait for a cannonball to get it to come out. It just takes a while. Sorry, I'm just kind of mad. I'm mad at myself, and I'm mad at the game. Just for that level. I'm having a pretty okay time otherwise. All other hurdles aside. There you go. There you go. Go ahead and drink your juice box. Dixie, you deserve it. See, that wasn't really much. Like, it's exactly what I just said, what I said before. He was going to only take me, like, he took me, what, 2 lives before I finished him off completely? 2 lives? And how many, how much time did we spend on Animal Antics before I just got sick and decided to cheese it? This was only supposed to be a 2-hour stream, but Animal Antics took up like a whole hour. I could have probably done it if I just stuck with it more. Sure, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll do it in my spare time. I'll practice it in my spare time and I don't know, upload a clip of me doing it in one go, because I can do it. I know I can do it. I wasn't gonna start over, going back all the way back to the spider. If they put the checkpoint right before the parrot, I probably would have been more willing to do it, but I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to go all the way back to doing all that stuff with the spider just to get to the parrot and not know if I was gonna make it again. I'd rather just start with the parrot and just keep doing it. Anyway, that was Donkey Kong Country 2: Diddy's Conquest. Do I dislike the game? No, of course not. It's one of the best games on the Super Nintendo. Surpasses Donkey Kong Country 1 in tons of ways. It just has a lot of dumb, just does a lot of dumb tricks on certain levels to try to heighten the difficulty, but some of it just kind of feels a little arbitrary. And the whole coin collecting element just feels a bit tedious and not really fun to do unless you already kind of know where all the barrels are, which you would only know if you had a player's guide. So it's a very much a very player's guide dependent experience. And I guess Donkey Kong Country 3 is too, but I don't know. I feel like it's more fun to collect stuff in Donkey Kong Country 3. I feel like I can also take my time a little bit with DKC 3 more often to sort of assess what I'm gonna do. Levels are a bit more puzzly. Here it's like a lot of pinpoint precision, which is very hard to do with the way the graphics are. And I don't know. I would say DKC 3 is probably my favorite of the series. Maybe I'll stream that in a few months, but I kind of want to move on from Donkey Kong stuff, because the Lost World levels, some of the Lost World levels here just really got on my nerves, and I wasn't really prepared for it. But I for the most part with this playthrough, I did enjoy myself. In fact, this playthrough was a lot easier than other playthroughs of the game that I've attempted. So a lot of the levels that are, and this goes for all of the Donkey Kong countries, a lot of the levels that seem hard upon, when you play them, when you've beat them and then play them for like a second or third time, it's way easier, and it's a lot more fun to steamroll through them and feel like, yeah, I did it. I learned this level inside and out. Some of these levels and some of the levels in DKC 2 specifically, I don't really get that. I've beaten all these levels, and some of the levels are just not fun to play, because some of them are throwing a lot of these arbitrary things in there, or what feels arbitrary at least, just to trip you up. And I don't know, that just irritates me. But there's other levels that are difficult, that are challenging, that challenging at first, but it feels like, I like that feeling where a level is difficult and maybe I have to grind my teeth on it for a while, but then once I finish it, whenever I go back to it, I can be like, I can turn to a friend and be like, hey, you remember this level? And if they're like, yeah, that level's terrible, and I can be like, yeah, watch this, and you know, just completely demolish it and just kind of feel like, yeah, you know, I have mastered what the game wanted to teach me with this stage. You know, and I can and whenever I'm put to this test, I can ace it. With stuff like Animal Antics, levels like that, Animal Antics to me epitomizes what I don't like about some of the levels in this game the most. But yeah, otherwise, you know, it was a good playthrough. A little longer than I expected, but I am gonna have to probably trim this episode down just to, you know, just a little bit. But otherwise, I guess I'll see people, you know, I'll see anyone watching this. I'll see them probably see them tomorrow on Wednesday, as long as I can get enough sleep. Probably just take a power nap and then let that be it. But probably see them tomorrow for the Wednesday movie stream, in the double feature movie stream in the Discord server. Hopefully I'll be able to get something ready for Friday. It will be a new non-monkey game. We'll take a break from the monkey from the Donkey Kong, from the DK crew, for a little while, and then we'll probably come back and play DKC3, and I can show off a lot of the, you know, we can make a more full, complete comparison of all three. But yeah, I pretty much, if anybody is watching this, if you're watching this in the archive, or if you're watching this, if you're just watching this live and just have been lurking this whole time, thank you for joining me, and I will see you later this week.